everybody, thanks for checking out this video. As you can see, this is going to be a traditional speed build and not a stop motion because this is a collaboration with Real Thomas TV. I did the exterior and landscaping in partitioned rooms, and he is going to be furnishing the entire thing, and you can check out that video on his channel, and I will leave a link to it in the description box below so you can find it easily. So be sure you guys check that one out too. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm hearing there's a lot of nasty viruses and bacteria going around right now, from bronchitis to norovirus and the flu and all sorts of nasty stuff. So if you have any of those, I really hope you feel better. And if you haven't had any of those, I really hope they stay away from you. And me too. So in this video, you guys will see how I really build a house, because you know, when you do a stop motion video, that is not how the house is built. It is usually the house is completely built, furnished, everything, and then making the stop motion is a process of like taking it apart and rebuilding and so on and so forth. It is a long process, but for a lot of us who make stop motion, we really do enjoy it. You can like add your own, you know, creativity to it, and you can make it in all sorts of ways. So it's more like a video production versus like doing a traditional speed build. One of the reasons why I prefer to do stop motion speed builds is because you can see the house come together rather quickly, and I think that traditional speed builds are a little bit long for my liking. And a fun fact about my building style is I am a very slow builder, and then when you add it to other things I do while I'm building, like watching Netflix and Googling stuff on my phone and surfing the internet, it takes me a really long time to even do a shell. I mean, I had like 8 hours of video for this shell that I had to go through. And considering that furnishing a shell, especially a shell of this size, this is a larger house, that takes me probably 2 or 3 times longer than building the shell. So I would have to be going through like, you know, 30 hours of video for a traditional speed build. And I did end up doing a great deal of editing to this. There was a lot of parts that I cut out. I mean, like I changed the color of the shell quite a few times, and the color of the windows and other stuff I cut out. I also had forgot to press record for a few short segments of landscaping, so you know, it is what it is. And I did cut out a significant portion of the roofing because I really OCD over roofs, and I was adjusting them like 1,000,000 times, you know, adjusting the height or the eaves or whatever. And when I went through the video for this, I was like, oh my god, do I really spend this much time on the roof? Well, apparently I do, because there was video evidence. But I was able to get 8+ hours of video down to 12 minutes, so you don't have to watch all of my craziness. Right here I'm making a frame for a garage door. I make these in all different types of ways, but in this case I used debug objects. These are from the show Live Edit Objects sheet, and as you can see, this was like a fence that I just sized down and then raised up with the 9 key. Debug objects are not custom content. They are actually within the game itself. You just need to enter the cheats to be able to see them all. So sometimes you may want to make a particular shape for your front porch, and it may be at an angle, and you could add the triangular deck pieces, or you can simply just draw a room of the shape that you want the porch to be and then just delete the walls. I find that is much easier for me. Here I want to change the porch dimensions a little bit, but I don't want to drag because of the shape of the foundation. It will drag oddly, so again I just drew a room around it. I built this house on Municipal Muses. That is a lot in Willow Creek. It was once part of like the community district lots. I think it was a museum to start with, but I do really like this lot. I like to build on it. It's a 40 by 30 lot, the 40 dimension is facing the front. There are two different kinds of 40 by 30 lots. There are also two different kinds of 30 by 20 lots. It's just which way is facing the front, which size is facing the front. I think also now at Discovery University there might be two different kinds of 20 by 15 lots as well. This is a base game build. You do not need any packs to play this. Thomas from Real Thomas TV will also be furnishing it with just the base game, so anybody can use this house. I do use move objects on every single build, so please, if you're using my builds, please put move objects in right before you place the builds, and preferably be on the lot that you want to place the build on, and then type in the cheat move objects. And if you had it on before you entered the lot, turn it off and then turn it back on. If you have a mod like MC Command Center and you have all the cheats on automatically, then it's no problem, just simply place the lot. So what can happen if you don't turn move objects on before you place the build is that for a builder who did use it, you may not be getting the full experience of the build, because you can end up with like doors and windows missing, or landscaping missing, or even furnishings inside the house missing. So if you want to get the full glory of the build and everything that the builder intended for it and put into it, and they asked you to turn move objects on, it's probably a better idea that you do that. So I want to talk a little bit about the artwork that I use in my builds, because I get a lot of questions about it, and I just want to clarify some things about it. This is not custom content because of the way it's made. It is a little bit of a process to make these things for the people that do recreate artwork in their game. What they're actually doing is taking like custom content, they're taking like photos or pictures or whatever, and then they put them in like the Sims 4 Studio program, I believe. And then they go into the game, and you have to have like the custom content on one lot, and then you have to have your sim on the other lot, and they either like photograph it or paint it, paint by reference. So then it's actually a painting or a photograph within the game, and then the game will not consider it custom content. And then there are some simmers who will sort of make their own artwork within the game. For example, they'll create a room and stage it with like plants or something like that, and then they'll either paint by reference it, or they'll photograph it, or they'll have their sim run around with the easel and paint like, you know, a waterfall or some sort of scenery or landscaping from within the game itself. So there's a couple ways you can make this. So if you like the artwork that I've used in any of my builds, I always hashtag the simmers that recreated in the game, so you can go into the gallery and search their name and then go to their page and download the artwork that they've made for the game. This artwork will not show up like in your game painting section. You actually have to go to your library and then place the wall on the lot, and then remove the artwork individually and put it in your build, and then just delete the wall. That is how you use gallery artwork. It's also important to note that if the recreator of the artwork didn't do it in the right steps, or if they had the CC on the lot with the painter or the photographer, or sometimes even if they have a certain mod in their game, that these will show up as CC. So what I usually do is, if I'm using someone's artwork that I don't really know, like I place the wall on my lot, and then I check the thumbnail of the build to make sure that it's not marked as CC. And a couple more things about the gallery artwork is I personally tend to use photos, because the photos are 10 simoleons, and the paintings can be significantly more expensive depending on the skill of the painter and so on. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that if you are building a lot and you are trying to stay within a certain budget, you might want to keep track of the price of the artwork that you're putting into your build, because a lot of people think that this price is not calculated into the build, and if that's partially true, because if you look at your thumbnail and it gives you the price, it's not included there. But what happens is, for example, if you built a starter home and you have all this expensive artwork in there, and then the person who downloads that starter home places the lot and then moves the sim in, they won't be able to afford it because the artwork will be in the value of the lot. If they have the sim on the lot and then place the lot, then they will be able to afford it. I don't know, it's some kind of weird glitch or whatever, but just be aware of that. If you don't have a sim on the lot while building, you can check the actual value of the house with the artwork included with the little icon button here at the top left of the screen. If you have a sim on the lot, I wouldn't go by that because that, for whatever reason, it can be different. Another thing to be aware of is that the gallery artwork can increase the size of your file. For example, if you are using paintings that come within the game packs, like, your file will be much smaller versus using artwork from the gallery. And this may be a problem if you have a slower computer, because the bigger the file, the more lag you could potentially have in the house. So here we are. This is almost the end of the video, and I wanted you guys to see the actual process of me building a house. So if you like to furnish houses, then this could be the perfect house for you. It has 6 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms the way I partitioned it, but if you want it different, then go ahead and change that. Also, if you want all the landscaping to be there, make sure that you placed it furnished, because I did use debug objects and those will disappear if you do not place the lot furnished. Thank you all for watching this video. I really do appreciate all the encouraging comments that I've gotten. It really is motivation to continue to do this. So thank you all so much, and I'll see you again next time.